had everything it needed to become one of the top animes ever made, but instead it remained completely unheard of by the majority of anime watchers. Why? Well, to answer that, allow me to give you a little backstory. Pluto was a modern adaptation of Astro Boy, one of the first animes ever made, and the first anime to ever be aired in the United States. And it was loved by everyone. So much that it was on lunchboxes, it had games, even had a friggin' flip phone. If an item existed, there was an Astro Boy version of it. People like this. I mean, look at this silly guy, isn't he? He's silly. He's a silly little guy. I mean, he's a silly little flying guy. He's a guy who flies. He's a little silly guy. This is off topic, so if you want to skip ahead, just skip ahead like 30 seconds. I was looking at eBay listings for this guy just to see, like, you know, what type of merch that he had. Look at this thing. This looks like it would kill me in my sleep. This thing looks like it would, like, come up to me and whisper little sweet things into my ear while I lay down on my bed. I don't trust this thing. This thing is haunted. Anyways, well, imagine how surprised I was when, after scrolling through Netflix, I discovered that not only is there a new adaptation of the show, but it's also been out for nearly 2 years.
You what?
That's this many, for those who can't count. You're welcome. So, once again, I ask, why has no one heard of this? Also, please like and subscribe, thank you. Well, to answer that, we're gonna go a little further back. Back to 1964. The year is 1964, when Astro Boy released its latest arc, The Greatest Robot on Earth, and a young man named Naoki Urasawa was just gifted a single copy, and he loved it.
今皆さんが言う言葉で言う金字塔っていうのを僕の中で感じてたんですよ。漫画の金字塔は地上最大のロボットだって思ってたんです。
This one moment would play a huge role in Urasawa's future career. Now we fast forward a bit to the year 2003. Creator of Astro Boy is looking to release something to celebrate the supposed birth of Astro Boy. While in this search, he came across Urasawa's work, so he called him in for a meeting. And after a bit of talking, Urasawa was given the green light to start producing a manga named Pluto.
えってなって、あれやるんですかつって。で、うっそあれやるんだ。考えもしない世界だったわけですよ。当時まだそういう前例がなくて。
20 years later, and the trailer for Pluto has just aired on October 2nd, 2023, and it garnered millions of views, thousands of comments, and overall looked like it was loved by everyone. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone. I scrolled for a while and even I couldn't find a single negative comment. And then, just a few weeks later, on October 26th, Netflix released the entire 8-episode anime, with each episode being around 50 to 70 minutes long. It was a lot, but the fans were excited. The show takes place in a futuristic metropolis where we follow a character named Gazette, one of the 7 most advanced robots in the entire world, as he seeks to solve the case of the string of robot and human murders. The biggest clue connecting all these murders together were the items lodged in their victims' heads that resembled a horn. The show was able to constantly keep the viewers on the edge of their seat as the gritty detective not only uncovers clues, but also goes through his own problems of identity, discrimination, and loss.
なんとも言えなくぐーって胸をわしづかみにするような。
All of this while still keeping the question, why is this happening, in the back of the viewer's mind. After watching the entire series, I could say that this show is amazing. It's both beautiful and tragic, it's heartwarming and heartbreaking, typical yet unpredictable. Like, it's good. It's really good. Which left me feeling so confused. Because if this show is really that amazing, then why did seemingly nobody hear about this show? Well, my couch creatures, after looking into a bunch of things, I'd like to introduce you to the #1 culprit, the place where all anime goes to die. Remember when I told you that both the show and the trailer were released in October? Well, what I didn't tell you is how that falls into the anime schedule. You might be saying, What does that have to do with anything? Well, huge anime drops tend to be announced at the start or end of a season, like spring, summer, fall, etc., which is an unspoken rule that is rarely ever broken. So you would never see something like JJK or Chainsaw Man being announced in the middle of January. But for some odd reason, not only did Netflix announce the anime in October, but they also fully released the entire show in October, the middle of the 2023 fall, right before the winter season. Do you see the problem? That means that this anime had to fight against Vinland Saga, Spy Family, and all of these other huge announcements and shows that just came out. And then not only that, but then they decided to release the entire show in hour-long formats. This means you'd have to knowingly be willing to sit down and watch 8 hours worth of content in order to finish a show. That is double the amount of time it would take to watch a typical 12-episode anime season. That's enough time to watch Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2 twice. And you had to do that knowingly. Pluto didn't fail because of a bad story or bad art or because it wasn't well perceived. No. It failed because it was smothered in between all these other anime releases and announcements due to the ignorance of Netflix. Why am I even talking about this? That's simple. I want to give this show another chance. Typically, Netflix and anime never really go well. There always ends up being some sort of budget problem. I can think of plenty of examples, but my favorite one being Seven Deadly Sins. But for this show, it's not that at all. Genuinely good. It has amazing art, great story, cool fights, cool characters. There's nothing wrong with it. The only thing wrong is Netflix. What Netflix decided to do with the show. So I wanted to give this show a second chance. I urge you, the viewer, to try to watch the show. It's genuinely one of the best animes I've ever seen. It's amazing how over the span of each episode, the series built up this believable yet tragic characters that act and portray such realistic ideas and emotion. And the story never ceases to flip whatever you thought was true upside down.
それがその子のためにも自分の人生かけてちゃんとしたものを作んなきゃいけないということの普通に自分の作品を気軽に作って
If any of this sounds good to you, then I urge you to go and try to watch the first episode. And with that, the video's over. If you enjoyed or watched this much, please do comment, like, subscribe, do something. This video took around 60 hours to make. I don't really know how to say bye, so later.